Welcome to the Sam and Joe VA Show, where we teach women just like you how to create your very own in-demand virtual assistant business.
We're your hosts, Sam and Joe, and get ready to have the control, flexibility, and freedom you've always dreamed of.
Welcome to episode 42, Summit Week 2021.
Whew. I don't know about you, Joe, but we're recording this the week after Summit Week 2021, and I'm still in recovery mode. It was a huge week for us both.
It really was. We were there live with all of the sessions, organizing the new tech, making sure that everything was running properly, helping support those who couldn't get in or get access. And yeah, it was definitely a chaotic week, but I think we really pulled it off.
100%. And the feedback we're getting is testament to that. I think everybody really, really enjoyed the week as a whole, but also enjoyed being able to watch it in real time with the other attendees, which is something that is new to 2021. We didn't actually do that last year, did we?
No, last year we just had people watching the recordings on our website, our Savvy School website. And yeah, it just wasn't as interactive, and we didn't feel like we could actually really hear live what people were thinking. The comments were a bit delayed. So yeah, I absolutely loved that we chose this year to use this really cool tool called Airmeet. And as soon as everyone jumped in there, the comments were just like, wow, this is a really amazing experience. Really love this tool. Like, you guys have really stepped it up this year.
Yeah, it did. It really had that wow factor. It had that wow factor for us as well when we first kind of hopped in and started playing around to figure out whether or not this was going to work for Summit Week this year. It didn't take long. It was like, yes, no brainer. We have to be using this tool. It's really, really cool. And just the features. I think the features made it for us, I guess, as hosts and as organizers. Being able to do live polls, being able to comment in real time, announcements were popping up. We could give speakers little tables to chat with attendees after their sessions. It was just all those little things just added up to really make the experience this year.
So Airmeet is definitely on our plan for 2022. And we've even organised the dates for next year too, haven't we?
We have. I think it was day 5 of Summit Week, and we were like, hey, look, we've just got to get this in the diary for next year now and let everybody know. So if you're listening and you don't already have the dates for the 2022 Virtual Assistant Online Summit, they are the 14th to 18th of February 2022. So get those in your diary right now.
Yeah, we're going to have Valentine's Day with everyone on the summit. It's going to be amazing.
We'll all feel the love that day, won't we?
So we want to talk a little bit about our process, because we know that some virtual assistants who are going to be listening to this and who potentially came to the summit are going to realize that having a specialty where you can organize online summits and online events for your clients is a really cool specialty.
Oh, it's a great one, especially in the current environment that we are all existing in. Yeah, there was definitely, I know of a handful of virtual assistants that came out of the Nail Your Niche Summit session that we ran, basically saying, yep, totally inspired. Not only do I know my niche now, I'm now going to use Airmeet as my niche.
Well, we talk about in that Nail Your Niche session about how you can go from good to great to fabulous in terms of what you choose for your specialty / niche. And one of them was to do a virtual events for a specific industry or in a specific tool. Because when you actually define it right down that small, or that, I don't want to say the word small because it doesn't make it a small pool of clients that you could get in, get on your books. It's more that because it's so narrow and so targeted, those who come to you are going to know that because you've chosen one tool to do it in, you're going to be an expert in that tool because you only have to learn everything about one tool. So, yeah, we
Yes.
think it's a great idea to choose a specific tool that you do something in.
So are we gonna share our process, like our kind of
Mm.
how we did it, how we
Yeah, let's go
set it
through it.
all up? All right. So, first thing was we set up dates, didn't we?
Yeah.
Number 1, get the dates in your diary.
Getting dates in the diary. It's like the first step of imperfect action. Just choose something. Don't worry about what else is going on. Think about like school holidays, think about
Mhm.
timing in the day, and then just choose something.
Yeah, and not just choose something and keep it to yourself, or your client chooses a date and keeps it to themselves. They then have to put it out there in the universe, don't they?
Mhm.
Like telling everybody,
Start
"This is
building
the
some buzz.
date." Yeah, "This is the date it's happening." And then
Mhm.
that then gives your client and yourself, whoever you're assisting, that added motivation, right? "Well, it's happening. It's out there. We're doing it."
Yes, because you can't go back once you've put it out there.
Exactly.
And so next we started to think about the topics that we wanted to do and the length. So how many slots do we want to have for speakers? What's the length? And who do we know that's in our current network that could really put on a great session for people?
Yeah, the topics are really important, especially in when you think about you've got to think about the audience. You've got to think about your audience is probably at different levels as well. So you kind of want to make sure that there's something for everybody. So in
Mm.
our case, we've got virtual assistants that are thinking about launching, virtual assistants that have only just launched, virtual assistants that have been in the business for a long time and are now looking to grow their team. So that's actually a lot of different people that we had to tailor it for.
Mm. And thinking about asking your audience. So
Mm.
there's no use, you just coming up with all of the topics. Like, actually ask people, what do they want to hear about? Do some polls, come up with some ideas, but put it out to them or ask them, what would you love to learn about? Or what are your biggest struggles? What would you love to know more about? And then you can deliver what they actually want.
Yes, yeah, and the same goes for speakers. If you're when it comes to sitting down, you've got your themes. Okay, now who's going to be the perfect speaker in order to talk to this theme? Once again, use your own network. Who have
Mhm.
you built really good relationships with over the years? Now, this is exactly what Joe and I did last year, especially. Last year was our very first summit. For those of you that have heard the story of the 2020 summit, Joe and I met on a Zoom call for the very first time. And literally 10 minutes later, we decided, hey, let's do a summit together. 30 days later, it was launched, it was done. So, imperfect action. But if it wasn't for those really good relationships that we
Mm.
had both built with, and we're not just talking about fellow virtual assistants, we're talking about all the other business people in our communities. If it wasn't for that, I don't think it would have been as successful as it is, because the speakers really do make or break it.
They do. And also go out to people who are in your community and ask if they know people that they would recommend as a really great speaker. Because, yeah, then you've got a bit of like I'm connected to them and they're connected to the speaker, and you've got a bit of a way to get in with that speaker.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to ask people that you think might say no, because we had some incredible high caliber speakers that I have heard on a big stage in front of
Yeah.
lots of people, and they were still willing to be a speaker. So don't be afraid to reach out to people that you think are going to say no.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
never know what they say.
reach for the stars. That's the
Mhm.
thing. The worst that can happen is they say thanks, but no thanks.
Mm. And we had some no's from some people,
We did.
and
We
that's fun.
did. Yeah, you just move
Mm.
on to the next person on your wish list.
Mm. So what's next after speakers?
What is next after speakers?
It's about thinking about the workbook, putting together a speaker's pack. So there was a lot of things that we needed to get from the speakers. So we created a speakers pack that had all of the sort of context and background, who the audience would be, what we're really
Mm.
looking for. It went into like, these are the things that we need from you. We need a headshot, we need a bio, we need your description for your session. and we need the questions that you're going to have that we can put into the workbook that go along with your presentation. And now that could be staged too, because some of them might need some time to think about the questions, but it's starting to get together your speaker lineup and get them confirmed and start to put out there who your speakers are, start to get those registration pages up so that you can put your speakers on.
Yeah, it also included some technical stuff. So,
Mm.
a lot of our speakers, they're very experienced. They've done it before. They've done, their own courses and webinars. They've been guests on other people's conferences and summits. So they kind of know what to expect, but not everybody does. So you want to reiterate, hey, look, I want a video in such and such a format. We're going to
Mm.
do the intro and the outro for you. We'll edit it, so don't worry about that side of things. Make sure that your lighting is good at the front, not behind.
Mhm.
So just some basic kind of video tips, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, and also an external mic. So
Yes.
Sam and I both have podcasting mics, and you don't have to have that sort of technical kit, but you need to have something external. We didn't want to have speakers who were relying on their inbuilt microphone on their laptop, so we made sure that we just spelled those things out for them.
Yeah, that was something that we learned from the first summit, wasn't it? Yeah, for sure. We were like, right, we need to make sure that we tell all the speakers this year what we need from them. So don't be afraid to tell them exactly what it is you need from them and when you need it by. So some really cool deadline dates, right? I need your bio and your headshot by such and such a date. I need your actual video presentation at another date.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the questions. The questions are really
Mm,
important for the
yeah.
workbook too. All right, next, it's about building a really great sales page and thinking about your pricing and what sort of levels of tickets you're going to offer. Are you going to have a free entry point for people where they have a free ticket? That's what we did in the first summit, just to
Mhm.
build up that credibility. This year, we made it a paid ticket, but still super affordable. We made it 19 New Zealand dollars. And then we had an upgrade option. So it's about thinking about what sort of tiers you can have in terms of your pricing and your different ticket offerings, what bonuses you can offer, so that you can then have that tiered structure.
Yes. And did we start? Yeah, and then we started kind of promoting it, didn't we? The lineup. Once that lineup is confirmed, your sales page is set up and ready to go. It's then kind of like a soft launch, I think we call it, isn't it? You're not kind of going out and promoting it full on too early, but you
Mm.
are letting those people in our case, in our Facebook groups, they're the first people that we would tell about. No, hey, you've already got the dates. We've told you about that. But now, here are our incredible speakers.
Yeah, and we were doing that sort of like August type time frame with the summit then in February. So it's quite a long lead time, and we
Yeah.
really stand by the long. If you can have a lead time of at least 3 months, that gives you the ability to really build up the buzz and sell lots of tickets and have enough time to do all of that promoing. So we decided to do an early bird special. So it was $10 for a ticket, and
Mhm.
that was, I think that was September.
Yeah,
So
it was.
I think we sold a third of our tickets in December in that early bird. So that was 100 tickets that we sold. So that's something to think about too. By having some time pressure on it, having a deadline, that definitely creates a bit of like, oh, I need to get my ticket now. I don't want to pay more than I have to. So you can sell quite a few upfront. And that just gives you some money to then put into the rest of what you're going to need to pay for in terms of setting up your summit. So it's a little cash injection in the start, so that you can pay for all the time and effort that's going to go into actually pulling it all together.
Yeah, and early bird really does work. And as you said, Joe, having that time limit definitely worked for us this year. As you said, we told everybody up front we've got 100 tickets at the special early bird price, and they were gone within 24 hours. All that 100 tickets gone,
Mm.
sold out. So it
Yeah, so
worked.
we limited, and we had the scarcity in there as well as the time deadline, didn't we?
Yeah, yeah. Platforms, you need to be thinking about around this time how you're actually going to present this to your attendees when the time comes.
Because you've got a few options. You can do it live. We opted to do it completely recorded the first year, where we just had one Q&A session on a Zoom call. And so we delivered it through Kajabi, where it was like essentially set up like a course in Kajabi. And at the time that the session went live, we went in, made it live, and then those attendees could watch it. Any sort of platform, you need to think about how you're actually going to sell the tickets, like what's going to be your payment gateway, what's going to host all of your videos, and how you're going to make it really easy for people to actually log in and see those things. There's also a lot of email communication prep. Yeah.
Lots.
So we this year landed on a really cool tool called Airmeet. So although we still sold the tickets on Kajabi on a landing page or a sales page, we have the recordings in Kajabi set up on that site so that anyone who couldn't watch it live over an Airmeet could actually watch it as a recording over in Kajabi at any time. So we've left it open for 2 weeks that anyone can go in and watch any of the recordings. Then over in Airmeet, we actually had at that time of the session, we played the video recording, and then we had the interaction during the session in the comments.
Which, as we touched on earlier, having that real-time engagement really lifts the whole event. That's definitely something that that we've learnt. Also, let's talk a little bit about, as soon as you're selling those first tickets, you need some type of email automation, don't you?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So there's a lot of emails that you need to think about. One is the initial thank you page is the first sort of like, what are they going to see when they have purchased their ticket, and then they need to receive an email. So this is the instructions of what next, and you need to lay it out really easily for people, step by step. This is what you need to do now. This is what you can expect leading up to the summit, and letting them know that you'll keep in touch with them and let them know they're going to get a reminder like however much time beforehand, so that people know what to expect. And most people will buy a summit ticket a few months out and then sort of just forget about it until leading, like maybe the week before, when you provide the reminder like, hey, it's next week. So it's about making sure that you're telling people in that very first email, put it into your calendar, make sure that you block out the sessions. These are going to be the speakers, these are the session times, so that you get them to do that prep right then. So then they don't need to do anything right up until that next reminder email just before the summit. So those two are really key, important emails, but you want to keep nurturing them as you're going between when they purchase their ticket and when the summit arrives. So have a think about some emails that you can send them. Maybe you've had some change in speakers, or you've added another session, or you're adding more bonuses, and also reminding people about how they can upgrade their ticket, what the other ticket levels are, what they might be missing out on is really important too.
Yeah, and while you're in email mode, you're also going to be needing to send a few emails to your speaker lineup as well. You're always going to have to be chasing people, and that's okay. People are busy. They don't mind being chased. You're going to be letting them know how many ticket sales to expect. If you're going to do an affiliate link, you're going to be letting them know that. We give all our speakers free access to the entire summit as well, don't we? So that we give them a code so they can register for free, so they can come in, they can join, they can watch, all the other sessions. And that's just part of our little thank you, because they're providing their time for us.
They are. So yeah, it's important that you give them something too. And that's really easy to give them full access to all of the other speakers. Now, there's a lot of emails on the day before and each day of the summit and after the day, because the more you can communicate on email to people and let them know the things that they're going to be thinking or wondering, the less support tickets that you're going to get, or
Yeah.
emails and messages saying, what do I do now? How do I get in? So yeah, it's really important to clearly lay out in the most concise way exactly what they need to know, and what they might be thinking. Like, what is their the frequently asked question going to be after the first day? Make sure that you write in that email what the answer to those questions are.
And reminders about upgrading.
Mm,
If you've got the upgrade option, you want to remind the people that haven't upgraded, hey, by the way, if you haven't, here's a link.
mm. Yeah. And then afterwards, there's a bit of like, you think, oh, yay, the summit's over, it's all done. But then you still need to keep promoting,
Mm.
and letting people know, when are they going to be able to watch things until, when is it expiring? What's the upgrade options? And what's next? So it's important to communicate about that too.
Yep, we do a survey as well at the end of each summit, just sending out to all attendees. We tend to have a little kind of a carrot for them, don't we? If you fill out the survey form,
Mhm.
you'll go in the draw to win a free ticket or free pass to the next year's summit.
Yeah.
That kind of encourages them to take part. And remember to go back to your speakers. You kind of recap how it went, final attendee numbers,
Give
dates for
them the
next
feedback.
year.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Give them their feedback.
Give them their feedback. Yeah, the
Mm,
feedback that's come in that you've received from attendees about each session. So when they do come in, make sure you keep a note of those somehow.
mhm,
And even a little thank you card, thank you gift.
mm,
It doesn't hurt.
mm. Absolutely. All right, let's go through some of our key learnings from what we've done. So we've done 2 summits now. What are our learnings that we're going to bring into our number 3 summit?
Yeah. So I think our big one, we've touched on it before, is Airmeet. We're definitely going to be using Airmeet moving forward, so we can everyone can experience it in real time.
Mhm.
Um, it was awesome. It was awesome being able to chat with virtual assistants around the world. I know one of the little breakout rooms that Joe and I were in at one point. I think there was somebody from the Philippines, a few New Zealanders, a couple of Americans. It was just this melting pot of virtual assistants.
Yeah, we talked to this amazing lady called Cassandra, and she was involved in a book club. And so book clubs are huge in the US, and they had all of these chapters all around the US, and there's a lot of admin that goes into that. So it was
Mm.
really cool to chat to someone where, that was just something that Sam and I had never heard of or even knew existed. And it was really cool to see what kind of sort of specialty she had, and something that we'd never seen before. So it was very, very cool.
Yeah, definitely a new niche that for us, but what a great one! What a fantastic one. So I guess our big learnings from Airmeet. Airmeet for us this year kind of came late in the game. So when we decided that we were going to use Airmeet and do it in real time, we'd actually already set the schedule. So everyone had already had their times. We thought at that point it was going to be run exactly how we did it last year, just recorded in Kajabi. Airmeet then comes along. And we didn't want to confuse people. We didn't want to start changing session times or anything. But what we have learned is we're going to next year bring it earlier an hour. So then it doesn't clash with those watching here in New Zealand primarily with school pickup times. So we're going
Mhm.
to make it earlier. So that it's finished a little bit earlier each day. So then there's no kind of, oh, I've got to go pick up the kids now. And also leaving a bigger gap between each session time.
Mm.
So next year we'll then invite each speaker in to hopefully do a live Q&A after their session is finished.
Yeah, and I think restricting the sessions a little more to be 45 minutes so that we've got that 15 minutes afterwards, I
Yeah.
think is important too. And most of the run over was actually our session, Sam.
I was gonna say it was our 2. I think we did like an hour 15 with one of them, didn't we? Was that the
We
Finding
did.
Clients for Introverts
Yeah.
one? An hour 15?
Yes.
But it was such a good one. Everyone loved it.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's our key learnings. And then now we just want to talk to you about some of our key takeaways from those sessions from the 2021 summit. And then we're going to talk about how you can actually still watch all of the summit sessions because they are going to be available as a separate product to purchase where you can watch them at any time.
Yeah. I mean, Joe, I think it's safe to say that neither one of us have like a favorite session. I think we got something from every single
Mm,
session this year. Just in terms of the caliber of speakers, it was amazing. But we have got some key takeaways.
mm,
Now, my number one, and I'm gonna kind of merge two speakers together. So Rebet Hollis and Natalie T, they followed one another. It was from day one on the first and second session of day one, and they were just a match made in heaven in my mind. I just feel as though they both had a really strong, a really strong message, which is something that we are both really passionate about, and it's about being yourself. Now, for anyone that's watched it, Rebet swore a little bit, which doesn't bother me. I swear all the time. Joe doesn't mind me swearing, thank goodness. But it was quite, you either loved it or you hated it. So
mm,
we got a mixed bunch of feedback in terms of kicking off the summit that way. But we purposely chose him for a reason. Now, he's all about being yourself, putting yourself out there. In fact, one of his quotes was, "If you are epic, act accordingly." And he totally just does it. He owns it. He absolutely owns it. Now, the downside, I guess, well, it's not a downside, but a result of just putting yourself out there, warts and all, love me or hate me, is you're either going to attract or repel somebody. There's not a lot of people that are going to be in the middle. They're either going to love you or they're going to hate you. Now, that's not a bad thing. You actually want that. That's how you get your ideal client to come to you. That's
mm.
exactly how you do it. The people that hate you, you don't want to work with them anyway. You don't want them following you. So it's okay. It's okay to be repelling people. It's actually a good thing.
Yeah, and I love the unapologetically being authentic. He doesn't apologize for it. People who were taken aback by the swearing or the speed and things about his session. It really showed us and proved that that's absolutely okay because those people are not his people, and the
Yes.
people that he would really enjoy working with are those who really connect to that and resonate with what he was talking about
Yes.
and his delivery.
And then Natalie's one that was straight afterwards, she touched on that a lot as well, and a totally different way of putting that message across, but there was definitely a strong theme throughout both of
Mm.
those.
Yeah, own it, and be yourself. Just do it.
Yes. Yes, love it.
I loved one of these key tips that Kate Toon gave in her conversion copy session. And that is when you're thinking about your call to action buttons, and you should have a call to action on everywhere that you have a web page or your online presence, make sure that you have one thing that you want them to do at the end. And on that call to action button, she said that it needs to flow on, whatever you write in there needs to flow from I want to sign up, join
Mm,
today, get in touch. So I want to. If it doesn't flow on from that sentence, I want to, then it's not the right thing to write in the call to action. And she said, don't put anything like you or me in there because it confuses people. It's like, oh, do you mean me? Do you mean you? It's confusing. So I want to, and just be super specific and clear with what you want them to do.
that was such a good tip. I
Mm.
loved her entire session, but yeah, that was a really, really good tip. Um, Tracy Hancock, business coach Tracy Hancock. She came this year to talk about the work-life balance myth and what to be focusing on instead. And this is an eye opener for a lot of people because I think a lot of people think that they've got to have this work-life balance. And how do you do that? It's impossible. Like I've tried for years to do that and it's actually impossible. I don't think I've ever succeeded. And Tracy put it in a really, really clear way. At the moment, a lot of people, they have their work and then they try and fit their life into their work.
Mhm.
And it's not working. For some people that works, but for a lot of people, the majority of people, that just doesn't work for them. That's when they find that the balance is out, that they're not spending enough time on the important life stuff, and they wanna change that. Now, the way to change that is just to switch it around. So instead, you want your life here. So the life's the important bit, right? And then it's about slipping or fitting just the work bit into that life.
Mhm. I think that if you can frame it that way, when you're thinking about building this virtual assistant business, I think it's a really great sort of, model to live by.
Yes, and
Mm,
so simple. It's just so
very simple.
simple. Yeah.
Yeah, the simple things are the best things, aren't they?
Mhm.
So Natalie Coombe had to have Natalie Coombe back on pricing because we know that this is a big issue for many virtual assistants, and like her one thing that she says all the time is your salary is not your reward. Like you actually have to plan for this as a business expense. Then it's about thinking about your pricing model. So moving away from just trading hours for dollars and going to that next level of service plans and retainers, and then to even the next level, which is where we all want to get to, is having those packages where it doesn't
Mhm.
matter if you do things faster and faster and you get better and better, you're still going to be able to charge whatever you charge for your package. You like with hours, trading your hours for dollars, it means that if you get faster, you're actually earning less,
Yes.
which doesn't
Yeah.
make sense at all. So getting onto those service plans and then trying to get to those packages, those fixed fees.
It's so important to get your pricing right, isn't it? It's
Mhm.
so, so important. The knock-on effect is huge. If you haven't got your pricing right, you are going to burn out. You're gonna be overwhelmed. You're gonna be miserable. It's not good.
Right. Bridget, I loved Bridget's. Hers
Yeah.
was our last session and it was really powerful. Talking a lot about boundaries and focus, and did this little activity with us where it just proved to us that when you're trying to do too many things and you've got too many things going on or distractions, you can't actually do anything very well.
Yes.
So it's about having those boundaries. This is my time to do whatever it is that you need to do and focusing in on one thing at a time.
I loved that exercise. It was really fun. It was really fun. Jason Tiller from Rocket Spark, his session was the latest trends in web design. Now, the great thing about this session is you don't have to be using the Rocket Spark platform in order to get anything out of it.
Mm,
Like it was general design tips that can be used on any website design platform. The big takeaways were the trends that we're seeing is muted colors, which were
mm,
lovely. I really liked the muted colors. So staying away from the bright and the bold at the moment. The use of graphics, of geometrical kind of designs
mhm,
instead of what we have been seeing, like in banners, say website banners. We're coming out of the trend of having big photos, and now it seems to be it's a lot of geometrical designs and
mm,
graphics. And reverting back to some of the traditional fonts and pairing a sans serif with a serif font, that was really interesting as well. And in terms of stock photos, ugh, if your photo looks like a stock photo, you don't want to be using it. So you want to go very natural,
mm,
um, natural colors, candid shots, nature, casual. Posy, stocky is a big no-no.
mhm. Love it. And Kathy, I I use Kathy in my own business. We do personality profiling in my business, and I just love how uh, practical her session was. Try and figure out what personality style you are, and then give you the tools to be able to figure out what your clients' personalities are. Because if we can remove that disconnect between our personality styles because we understand each other and those different personality styles, then we can just have way less conflict. And we
Yes,
can have healthy conflict where we actually discuss things in a healthy way because we understand each other rather than like negativity and bad conflict. And building relationships with your clients and great relationships is how we retain them, right?
exactly. It's really powerful. Maybe I need to do that in my relationship at home as well. Can I get Kathy in to personality profile us?
And we can't go past Palace's session either, where she talked and
Mm,
gave us some on-camera tips. So for next week, I'm actually going to lower my screen down so that my camera is more at my eye level. Because if I look up at my camera, you can actually tell that I'm looking up, and it doesn't look very natural. So yeah, I'm going to change my setup because of the tips that Palace has given us on that amazing like camera confidence session.
yeah, so that session, it wasn't just for those that are currently showing up on camera like Joe and I
Mm.
do on a regular basis. It's for those that are wanting to start showing up, but it's also for those that just want to get confident in terms of Zoom calls with potential clients and those sales calls.
Mm. More and more sales calls are now on Zoom. And
Yeah.
it's the best way. If you can't meet them actually physically in person, it is the best way to have that connection and rapport with your potential client rather than just talking on the phone. It's the next best thing.
Yeah. And finally, we can't talk about key takeaways without mentioning Emily Roach Griffin's Instagram stories session
Mm.
and Canva's session as well. Now, these were both really, really popular. And I think they're popular because they were very hands on, step by step how to guides, weren't they?
They were. If you think you knew everything about doing Instagram stories, you definitely haven't seen all the features until you've watched her session. There were some things in there that I've never seen before, which
Yeah,
were
me
very
too.
cool. And
And
Canva, the presentation and recording your presentation right in Canva. Wow, that was mind blowing.
it was really good. And one of the things I loved actually about both of them, Instagram especially, the Instagram stories especially, was immediately afterwards. I don't know about you, but did you see all the VAs going onto Instagram and all of a sudden like playing around with their stories and just seeing what everyone was creating was so, so cool. And I know a lot of people tagged Emily as well, and
Mm,
she's just got such a kick out of seeing everybody what they've been creating.
mm. Very cool.
Yeah.
And we've left people off. We know, we know, we know. But we're now at 37 minutes, and we don't want this to go too much longer, do we? So we want to say a huge thank you to all of our speakers and all of our participants. We ended up having 300 participants coming along, booking their ticket and coming along and watching those sessions, which is very cool. And we just want to make it bigger and better again next year. So, if you are listening to this and you missed out on Summit Week, where were you? What were you doing?
Hello.
We we still have the recordings available, and we're going to have these available for the next few months for everyone to grab. If you have not watched the summit sessions and you want to get lifetime access to those, we have them now available as a standalone product, not with any of the bonuses. If you saw us talking about the all access pass, but just the recordings. You can get hold of those. We're going to drop a link below, but you can have a look on our Savvy School website and have a look in our store. You will see that we have a product in there where you can grab those and you can have lifetime access to them.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what part of the VA journey you're on, whether you're a newbie, whether you're really experienced, and it doesn't matter where in the world you are based. This is an international lineup of speakers here, and we had virtual assistants from around the globe attending. So don't let that be a barrier to learning.
Mm. All right, let's wrap it up there. This has been an incredible summit week last week, and we know that many of you who are listening have joined us for that summit week and thought that it was fabulous too. So, yeah, we will talk to you all again next week. Thanks to everyone for listening to this episode of the Sam and Joe VA Show. If you'd like to find out more, head to the Savvy School website to check out the amazing Members Club and find more free resources.
You can find us at savvyschool.co.nz.